All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, welcome to another live workshop by Upgrade My Rituals. Thank you for jumping in and tuning in to Upgrade Your Month, the February edition of these live workshops. So if you guys, you probably know who I am. My name is Kevin McKella. I am the founder of Upgrade, and I am basically trying to help you guys in any way I can by documenting my journey through ultimately the big things of personal development and daily rituals and daily routines, and trying to be that much more productive, find some more efficiency, and ultimately design this perfect ideal day that we strive for, this day that we would love to hit when our head hits the pillow and says, wow, like I did everything I wanted to do and I'm on the right trajectory in many areas of my life. Like that's a really good feeling. And a lot of the times we kind of hit our head on the pillow and we say, wow, crap, that was like a really terrible day. I got nothing done and I feel like everything was just pulling for my attention. So thank you so much for being here. And what we're going to do today is I got a little fancier from last time. And I have some camera switching. I have some little bit of a setup here. What I would love you to do is, if you can hear me, I would love you to leave a comment and just either a thumbs up or, yeah, I hear you, and say you guys are ready to rock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my Facebook feed here so I can see that we are live. And what I'd like to do while I am doing this, I'd like you to also, if you really feel up to it, I'd like you to leave a comment and tell me what is the biggest thing that's distracting you in your life today. What is the thing that's kind of holding you back from doing something that you really want to, either do or accomplish? And if it's something you feel uncomfortable, putting down, that's okay too. You don't have to, but it could be something serious. It could be something very light, and just, hey, I'm really distracted by my phone, which is actually not too lighthearted, but it is something. So leave a comment. Let me know that, I can, you hear me and I hear you. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a lot about what ritual design is. Ritual design is a system that I've created for myself over the past probably 7 or 8 years. And what this does is it takes the morning routine, which is this wonderful thing that everybody says, oh, the morning routine will solve all your problems, and it's the ultimate guide to success, and it's very helpful for many ways, but it is not the end all be all, because there's other things that happen throughout the day. There's this thing called your job, and there's this thing called your family and your friends, and the things that kind of pull for your attention, and that really could ultimately have strong inflection points as you transition from one to the other. So I noticed that, as I went, throughout my life, and I was working either terrible jobs that I hated or jobs that I loved and was just a lot of time and effort, I noticed that the morning routine only did so much. And what it did was it got me off to a right start. But then again, I would go to this, one time I was working at an appliance repair shop, and for a boss that was like borderline, actually he was insane. So to say my next 8 hours was going to be wonderful because I, did a meditation session and breathing session in the morning, it's just unrealistic. So what I noticed was if I just did a quick 2-minute, grounding little, even faux meditation session in my car before I got there, right? Before I even left the parking lot and walked into the building, it helped so much kind of set the tone of how I was going to take things in, what was going to kind of happen throughout the day. I was ready for it, right? And then the same thing, at the end of the day, what I did was I would do a couple of different things when I come home from work. So it included shutting my workday down. So it was some things at work that I had to do, go through emails and literally shut things down at work. And then what I did was I would do some things when I walked in the door, right? Before I started, say, a time block that I was working on some stuff for my own personal matters. So what that did was ultimately that left all my stuff that I needed to, all my negativity at work. It left my work problems at work. So I didn't take any of that baggage home to my wife or, at the time, maybe even girlfriend or whatever it is, right? And then what I also noticed was my morning routine, this magical morning routine, was very affected by my nights. How did I prepare for the next morning? Did I lay out my clothes? Did I make the coffee maker? Did I set my Alexa routines? See, I say Alexa because I got one right behind me and she'll start going crazy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to teach you guys basically the way you can develop ritual design, some tools that will help you guys, including the Ritual Design Planner, of course, which is coming out. I'm very, very excited. Very soon. It's somewhere in the Pacific right now. And then we're going to, if we have time, we may have to break this up into 2 sessions. We're going to talk about some of the other elements besides these 4 magical routines that affect this whole system and why it's just not random routines, why it's actually a system that works together. So if you guys, like I said, if you are ready, if you're watching this live, leave a comment and say ready to rock, thumbs up, let's do it. If you're on a replay, I still want that comment that you're ready to rock and learn something tonight. What I would also suggest you do is if you really want to get kind of take in what you can tonight, just put your phone, do some dark hours, right? Put the phone down for half an hour, turn it off if you will, like just, kind of be in the moment and just see what you can learn today, right? And also what I can learn. If you have any suggestions, please, like I said, leave them in the comments. So let's get cracking. All right. I'm going to be switching some cameras here. Let's see if this works. Look at that. How cool is that? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to map out the 4 the 4 major routines and how this works, right? So again, the morning routine is wonderful. And we call this, and of course, the first marker I go for, it's dead. You know what? It may be that the board is a little wet because I just wiped it down. Let's see. No, how funny was that? Wow. Okay. So the first thing is the AM routine. And this is where ultimately you're going to ultimately start your day on an extremely positive, place. It's going to be a really just welcoming place where you wake up, where you have an entire day ahead of you and everything is fresh. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the what we call the BW routine, the before work routine. Okay. I'm going to leave the mic over here. So the before work routine is really something, like I said, that there's 2 different ways to do this. And we're going to use examples as we go on. And I am going to ask you guys for examples as well if you're watching live. The before work routine can happen in 2 places, or it can happen of a combination of 2 places. One, it can happen before you leave your house, if you are even leaving your house these days, but before you kind of get into your workspace, if you will, or it can happen while you sit down in your office, in whatever situation it is, or it can be both. We're going to go through some of the specifics of how, some examples of how you can do that. But basically you can choose. So, ultimately, like I said, it could be a commuting thing, right? Whenever we do that, like if you have some really bad traffic rage, right? Something that I definitely suffered from, maybe, like I said, a 2-minute trigger, like a meditation little thing before you even back out of the driveway can help. But it also may entail you walking into the office and, saying hello to every single person before you just sit down and crank through emails, right? Or it could be, hey, I'm not going to check my email for the first 15 minutes of my day. I'm going to actually plan my day, something like that. So ultimately, we've got I'm switching from my microphone. We've got the AW routine, the after work routine. And then finally, we have the PM routine. This is the things that you do right before you go to bed, or maybe an hour before. So again, this is one of those things where this system is not just random routines. It really does make a it has a cyclical effect, and I'll explain some of the things that kind of how we can kind of look at that. But what I want to do now is I want to get some examples, right? If you have some examples, things you already do, things that you may want to do. Now, if you're watching this and you're saying, dude, that's great, but I don't even have time to shower sometimes. like I don't even have time to read a book that I really want to read just to have some escapism. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to devote all of these hours to the... No, you don't have to devote any time at all. You can take whatever you want from this system and use it. This is... We're talking about the Ferrari here, but if you want to start with the Volvo, that's okay too. Like, whatever you want, you can pick and choose. But I'm going to show you how this is a system that kind of works together. So let's talk about some examples first. All right. And I'll kind of really ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out basically what I do, why I do it, and all this stuff. So let's talk about the AM routine first. So the AM routine basically is the thing that it's like I said, it's the welcoming to the world, right? You're in a couple of different places. You're dehydrated, you're groggy because you're switching from, I believe, a theta to an alpha brainwave. Basically just, your brain's waking up. And there is a lot of subconscious programming that can happen in this point, in the first half an hour when you wake up. So I'm going to walk you through my morning routine. As it stands right now, it may change very soon, but my morning routine, it's a little bit long and in depth, but that's okay. So first thing I do is when I wake up, first thing I do is read for 10 minutes. So I used to read, the reason I read for 10 minutes and not hit the ground running, some kind of, they say like, oh, you have to just, have your workout shoes right there by the road, by the bed, and just jump in and start working out, start moving your body. I used to do that, but the problem is that it didn't stick. Sometimes I would be lazy and I didn't want to work out. And I noticed something was that something called a circadian rhythm was... My circadian rhythm was, my chronotype, is basically the biology of your sleep patterns and like what works for you when you actually, your body wants to wake up. Some of us are night owls. Some of us are early risers. For me, I fall right in the middle. On like the weekends, I wake up at around 9 o'clock. And I get really tired around like 11:30. It's pretty right in the middle there. So there's a lot of resources to find your chronotype, but basically it's pretty easy. Like, when do you feel like you want to wake up if you have nothing else, pulling at you? Some of us, we don't ever get that luxury. I understand. But that's why I've decided to read first 10 minutes, because it kept the consistency of my routine for years now. So I've yet to change that. I'm debating whether changing it because I have other situations now where I can, being pulled out of bed is not as difficult as it used to be in a 1-bedroom condo. I'm getting kind of into details, but let's keep going. So next one is to, what do I do next? Oh gosh, I forgot. Is a breathing and stretching routine. So I stretch. I stretch and I breathe. I apologize. I'm writing very, very small here. I wish I can, I hope I can zoom in a little bit. I don't think I'm going to be able to. But guys, if you are just jumping in, thank you so much for joining. Like I said, leave a comment. I would love to hear what you guys are looking to leverage from this, what routine you really want to start doing if you've never done a routine before like this, a morning routine, a before work routine, an after work routine, or maybe even a night routine. So this stretching and breathing exercise, what I do is why I do this is because I noticed over the years of being a brass musician, breathing is such a thing that we don't do well as people. We breathe very shallow. We literally don't oxygenate our body, which is like kind of funny, right? Because it's happening naturally. But like when you force it and you really do a really almost like flow studies and strength building within a breathing routine, you feel good after. You feel a little lighter. You feel definitely more awake. And stretching is huge for me because I am very inflexible as just a person. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm just not flexible. So I knew that was a weak point if I ever wanted to, get serious with any type of fitness goals. So I do a 10-minute stretching routine that's consisting of some yoga, some primal movements, and even some things from my musician days of some core stretching and trunk twists and all that stuff. So after that, I will do a 10 or 15-minute meditation session. And the next one is really important, and it sometimes goes overlooked for me. Is a gratitude session, a little gratitude exercise that I do. So gratitude is huge for me because, and that's why I literally in the ritual design planner, what I did was on the daily pages, I literally put a gratitude exercise where you can simply write 3 things you're grateful for, because there is science there is literally peer-reviewed research that has been shown where if you are in a grateful state, no matter how crappy your life is, if you can find 3 little things you're grateful for: I'm alive, I have good health, and I'm just looking right here, I have my beautiful dog, right? I can name a million other things, but those are 3 things right away. I literally, if I write them down, it's even better than just thinking through them. If I write them down, I can't be angry. I can't be pissed off. You literally, try it. You can't do it. And it's really interesting because the more consistent you are with that, the more of a long-term effect you may have. Writing it down is really important though, because if you just think it, and you say, I'm going to take a walk around the block and do my gratitude, it doesn't stick as much. When you're writing something down, it builds a deeper neural pathway, so it works a lot better. Then finally, I will basically just hit the gym and do a strength training workout. So switch you up here. So this is my morning routine. It's a little long. It takes about an hour and a half. As some of you watching may know that my wife is expecting and is actually due any day. And I know that that's going to change. What's going to change, and what I plan on it changing, is the timing of this. So what I do is I wake up at 6:30 to do this, and I'm pretty much done. And this is including like feeding the dog, letting him out, making some coffee, making some, all those things I'm not going to list right now, but, kind of showering, getting ready. So it takes completely before I'm sitting down in my office is like 2 hours, right? I know that is not going to be perfect every single day. I know that the baby is going to Quinn is going to insert herself in my AM routine, and that's okay. She's going to insert myself much more than just the mornings. That's okay. The reason why this is even more important is because without the structure of saying, I want to get these things done, somewhat revolving around the mornings time somewhere, is because if we don't even get half of them done, then that's when we start falling off to, a rough trajectory, right? If we define ourselves as a fit and healthy person, but you haven't been to the gym in 4 months, then you're not living your definition. And then you're starting to change your identity, which is then unravels everything, right? So I know that. And you may be in a situation where you're like, dude, I cannot spend 2 hours. You don't have to spend 2 hours. You can do this. You can do all this in 15 minutes. And this is something called the abbreviated routine. This is just like a little thing that I made up, not really part of the system, but the abbreviated routine is trying to literally cram as much as you can in as little time as you can. So watch this. Ready? Okay. I will literally, if I take a walk around the block, right, I can deeply breathe, right? I can do a faux meditation session. I can practice my gratitude through inside my head while I'm walking. And I'm kind of maybe getting some exercise in, not really, right? But I can get a few of these items within a 15-minute walk. So when somebody says, I have to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's always time to do something for yourself, no matter what, in some fashion, in some way, at some time. And that's why we have other routines. So let's go over the BW routine, the before work routine. So for me, now that I have an amazing, a really, really happy job with really good people, I work from home, it's really a very simple routine. And it's literally opening up a couple of apps. It's literally checking, just going through my email, because that's even though I don't like to do that the first thing, but in client services, that's what I have to do. So basically, I open Slack, I open email, and I open Dialpad. This is the simplest routine you can possibly get before work, because there's really nothing that has to get done. There's no interpersonal or intrapersonal type of things that I want to do, because I'm not really working with anybody. Most of the time, every 5 days a week, we do have like a morning meeting that I kind of, think through that as part of my routine as well. But that's like a mandatory thing that it's a commitment that I have with other people. So I don't really put that into place. So let's get into the after work routine. So this is a good one. I like this one. So the after work routine basically is a couple of things for me. Actually, you know what I'm doing? I've changed it recently, so I'm going to literally look right here and see what I have in my after work routine. Okay, so I do inbox 0. I'm actually going to write it up here. So I'm going to do inbox 0. So no matter what, I won't respond to every single email, but I will process them. I'll put them in the correct folders. I clear Slack. So actually, you know what I do? No, excuse me. I close all these out. So I'm just going to write, oh gosh, I can't even close apps. Okay. And then I actually do the dishes from the day, because I have my shake and stuff like that. I just have like stuff from lunch or whatever. I take Ollie for a walk. Oop. This is like not working out. Ollie. All right, Ollie. And then I will do a block. Now I have I'm not going to write this down because it's not really part of my routine. It's kind of separate from my routine, but I do usually schedule it, and sometimes I label that as my after work routine. What a block is a very simple, it's a time block. It's basically a block of time that you allocate for something that has to consistently get done, but there's not necessarily an end date or a project end date to that thing. So for instance, a lot of my business blocks for Upgrade is content creation, right? So it's going to always be very consistent. I'm always going to make videos. I'm going to always be editing videos. I'm going to be always doing that stuff. Now, within the business, I also have other projects that I'm doing. Launch of the planner. I have, I have different things on the website I have to get done. I have to do outreach and all this stuff. So those might fall into that business block on that day. But ultimately, that block you can put in, as part of your after work routine. You can fit it in whenever you want. It doesn't really matter. But time blocking could be part of the system if you want. Now, another really, really important and final routine is the PM routine. Okay, so again, I know you're like, dude, this is like a lot of stuff, But when you really think about it, yeah, it's this is hefty. The PM routine is going to be a little hefty, but it's not a lot of time. And you can break this up. You don't have to make this as intense as I do, but having the system in place. And I'm going to get to, after we spell out the PM routine, I'm going to get to why this system actually kind of works together and how it can be either derailed or really, finely tuned. So let's get into, I'll walk out through my PM routine for you guys. Okay. Okay, so my PM routine consists of a couple of things. At 8:45, I do the dishes again, and I'll tell you why why I keep bringing up the dishes. They're actually, it's very, very important. And I'll tell you, I know it's kind of funny, but it's true. So I do the dishes. I'm going to say clean the kitchen. I'll just write kitchen. The next one is Ollie's teeth. So I brush Ollie's teeth. And the reason why that's in the PM routine is because that is like the first thing to go. If I don't schedule that and tell myself, okay, 8:45, the bell rings, I start doing, cleaning the dishes from making dinner. And then right after that, I'm going to brush his teeth. He's right here with me. He's such an adorable little pup. I love him, but not the best teeth. He's okay, but I don't think like his previous owners took great. So he lets me brush his teeth. I go in there and so that's part of the PM routine. It's one of those things that you really hate doing because it's just like really annoying, but it just has to get done for me at least. It is what it is. Okay, so next up we have the I lay out my clothes for the next day and I prep my coffee machine. I should really write bigger. Sorry about that. But let me ask you this. How many times have you in the morning have been late to work because you couldn't decide what to wear? Or what you wore wasn't ironed, or what you wore had to spend another 10 minutes in the dryer because it was damp, or whatever it was, like clothes. That's why Steve Jobs wore a black turtleneck and jeans every single day. It was one less decision he had to make. It's not just because he was a weirdo. And he is a little weird, but like that's, you know what I mean? Like that is one less thing that you have to worry about, and it's one less thing that can derail your AM routine. It's there. Your clothes are ready to rock. Good. The coffee machine, it's your preference. I mean, if you drink coffee, you drink tea, whatever it is. For me, I like to do it at night because it's not an activity that I deem important for the morning routine. It's a task. It's something that can be done when you're shot. You don't have to have full, cognitive, mindfulness to make coffee. So you just do it at night. Just get it done with. So in the morning, you can focus on what really, really matters to set the tone for the day. That's really what's important. Okay, moving on. Just a couple more. Okay. So, and thank you guys so much for sticking in and watching. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully you're kind of thinking about some of this stuff for your, anything you can pick up for your own life. After I actually prep the coffee, I have some tea. And I do another block. So I spend about from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night working on upgrade, so I'll do, I have to have obviously time blocks to work on this. After that, I will plan my day in the Ritual Design Planner. I'll do a really, really short 5 to 10 minute meditation. After that, I take obviously some personal hygiene, right? And do a little shower, a little shave. And then why did I write hang on the end of it? So I wrote hang because at the very end of the night, the last thing that I want to do, and it's definitely not in order of importance or priority, but the most important thing is to just hang with Ashley, and soon enough to be hanging with Quinn, even though she will not be up at 10:30 at night. But she may be. She may be. Who knows? We'll see. So, but I do again have that scheduled, because if I don't schedule that, there's been many nights where I just work straight through, and then she's already tired and she's in bed. This is not quality time. This is just good time. This is like just chill, watch some Bravo Below Deck time, right? Gosh, I hate Bravo, but that's the only thing in my house. But I love my wife, so like we do what we do, and that's really important to me, because if I don't schedule that and I don't put that in my system, then it's one of the things that could potentially fall by the wayside. That's why, again, in the AW routine, the after work routine, something that you can do, whether you work from home or not, is, kiss everybody in your family. Go up to them and give them a big smooch and just say, I love you. That's just like something you can schedule. Now, you say to yourself, now that you see this kind of craziness that I kind of map out every day and do my best to follow. I do not do this every day. I try to. It's my ideal day. That's what it's called, but it doesn't happen every day. Why do I do this? Why do I have such a disciplined daily routine and schedule? A disciplined, if you want to say a disciplined life is a good life, or whatever it is, right? I've found that for me, when I have something to hold me accountable and something to pull towards, and that pulls me towards living my best life, it's a lot easier than trying to push at things and try to become something. Like, just follow this damn thing, right? Because it really touches on all aspects of who I want to be, the best version I can be of myself. And when you start really thinking about that, it's like, oh, okay, like, I'm working on my physical body. I'm working out. I'm eating right. I'm taking time to, make that protein shake or whatever it is, right? I'm having good lunches where I have to do the dishes, right? I'm taking time to take care of my mind. I'm meditating twice a day. I'm going through a gratitude practice. I'm being grateful for things. And I have to say, especially this year, if I didn't have this to at least come through, I went through therapy this year, and my therapist, it was funny because a lot of the things, trust me, when I say this, I'm not saying that I'm some, I'm so amazing. I knew not that. It's that a lot of therapy in this situation was based in behavior change, and a lot of personal development tactics is also based in behavior change. So a lot of the things that he was kind of telling me to do, I would kind of like finish his sentences and he'd be like, yeah, that's perfect. Go back to doing that. Because this thing for many, many months did not happen. None of this happened at all, clearly. And that's okay. But if I didn't have this to fall back on, it would be way, way, way harder. I've been doing, ritual design for many, probably, like I said, probably about 8 years now, in some fashion. And it was only the last 2 or 3 years that I've started saying, hey, this is a system. And I'll tell you why. Now, as we wrap up today, I'm going to show you 2 other parts of ritual design that's really important. That is not a routine, but it is important. There are 2 things called the actuator and the clog. What is that? Okay. So the actuator and the clog. Oh, we got a comment here. Yes. Hey, Michelle. I do the same. I set out my scrubs, my son's PJs, and even his outfit for the next day, all of his snacks for his lunch for the next day, all so I can spend time with him after work without having to focus on these things. Yes. Love it. Yes, Michelle. Thank you so much. I love that. Yay. And is that your boy? Very, very, very cute. Yes, this is the beauty of this system, is because, a lot of these things you may do already without it, right? One thing I would I'm sure you do, but to think about is now that's awesome that you get to spend time with him. Now, what are the things you're doing for yourself? I'm sure there's many things, because you seem very put together, and but don't ever forget the most important thing, which is yourself, because you can only be the best mom or the best dad if you're also taking care of yourself too, which is, like I said, I'm no one to speak. I don't have kids, not yet, but very, very excited. So cool. So two things, the actuator and the clog, and this is the most important part of this system. Let me erase some of this stuff. Okay. Okay, cool. So the actuator, right, is, if you've ever heard. Okay, I think I ended the stream. I do apologize because I hit the wrong button. We got some people. Cool. I'm very, very sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I appreciate you jumping back on, guys. I don't know what happened, and now I've got sound coming through here. This is great. Okay, cool. So sorry about that. I do apologize. Thank you for jumping on and finding the stream again. Okay, cool. So let's go back to I got to get rid of that button so that doesn't happen again. The actuator. So what is the actuator? It's the thing that keeps this system moving. And basically, it really could be anything. So, what actually is the actuator? Basically, what it is the thing that oils the machine. And what an actual actuator is in a car, there are many different actuators, but it's the things that the real definition is a system, or basically a thing that like moves flaps and opens valves to like allow fluids to come in. It's basically something that allows fluids to move freely throughout the car. You can clearly see I'm not a mechanic, but what in ritual design, what this is could be anything. It could be anything that completely oils the whole system. And for me, the actuator has changed over time, but for me right now, the actuator actually is an alarm that I have set on one of my voice-activated devices. I'm not going to say her name because Lady A gets very angry when I say it. But it's a system. It's an alarm that goes off right at 8:45 for me to start my PM routine. So let's see. Here we go. So I know it sounds a little silly, but it's the thing, because I'll tell you why. Having the actuator be something so small but so powerful is kind of the truth, right? At the end of the day, I have no willpower. I'm really tired. For the most part, I'm full because I just ate. Usually we eat a little bit late, 7:30, 8. I want to change that, but and I'm really, I'm on the couch, right? I'm on the couch and I just finished eating and I'm kind of hanging out with my wife, and there's a lot of potential to spend the next 2 hours on that couch and watching mindless TV, which is totally cool. And sometimes I do it. The other night I did it. I was having a really, really bad emotional night, and I said, I can't get any work done tonight. That's okay. So I didn't do my entire PM routine, right? But that was not the next part of this routine, next part of this system, called the clog. That was not the clog. What is the clog? I'll write it in blue. There we go. The clog is just what you think it may be, right? All it is the thing that screws everything up, right? For me, it is the stupidest thing ever. But for me, it's the dishes. And I'll tell you how I've come to figure this out. Okay. So what would happen is, especially when I was like working outside of the home, right? I would, in the morning, right? Say if everything was fine, it was empty sink, right? In the morning, I would have my blender, I'd have my coffee pot, I'd have like the espresso maker. I'm a little bit of a coffee addict. Espresso handle. I'd have I'd have a whole bunch of things in there. Fine, whatever. Like, whatever it is. My wife may have one or two things, whatever. No worries. Then what would happen was at the end of the day, I would come home from work. I'd take my water bottle, put it in there. If I brought lunch, I'd put it in there, right? So now I've got this sink full of dishes. Now I've got a decision to make, right? Remember, in my AW routine, I had do the dishes in there, right? I know this is so stupid, but it's just what is my clog. If I don't do the dishes and I start making dinner, right? You know what's going to happen. I'm going to have literally a pile of crap that it's just like the kitchen is done. The sink is, I can't even do it. Now, I've got another decision to make. I either completely cancel out my PM routine and just clean up this mess and get everything done. Sometimes it'll take like a half an hour. I'm also a messy cook too. Or I don't, and then like I'm just disgusting. And then my wife yells at me, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's something that she doesn't yell at me, but like it's a decision that I have to make somewhere, right? If I don't keep up with it, it's going to affect the rest of my night, or it's going to affect the next morning, whatever it is, right? So what I found that is if I can get it done, if I can get a clean sink right at the end on the day, or even maybe before I leave, right? Now that I'm home, it's pretty easy. It's not that much of a clog anymore. But if I can keep up with it, that's the thing that won't kind of derail the whole system. Because what happens again is that, okay, what if 1 p.m. routine goes by the wayside? That's no worries. Like, it's fine, But what happens is that, remember, in my PM routine, I had setting up my clothes for the next day. I had making my coffee maker the next day. I had, I got some things done. I worked on the business for an hour or two, whatever. So I felt good. And then, all these things. I go to bed. If I don't do any of that, then my AM routine is totally shot because I feel like crap. I didn't have a productive night. I didn't get done what I wanted to do. And I have to figure out what shirt goes with what pants, which for me is a problem. I don't know. So ultimately that's a general beginning of ritual design. There are 2 other elements that we are not going to go over tonight because I accidentally, like I said, ended the stream. We've already going on 50 minutes, so I don't want to take too much up of your time. But what I want to do, though, is I'm actually going to keep you guys for a second. I want to give you a link because all the things that we talked about today is, like I said, just part of a much bigger system. This is ritual design, but my system of what I do for myself consists of a lot of things. It consists of goal setting. It consists of, domain traction. It consists of weekly planning. It consists of, project planning. And what I've done is I've put all that into a literally a physical planner. This is the Ritual Design Planner. I'm really super proud of it. It is being shipped somewhere in the Pacific right now, so we're don't even have tracking on it right now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to leave a link right now in the live, at least on the Facebook page, and I'm going to leave it, I think, on the new stream here because I have 2 streams because I'm silly, or maybe I don't. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to leave it in the link. I would love you guys to sign up to get just initial access to it. It's basically it's going to be launching probably somewhere now the end of February, early March. For anybody who kind of jumps on that wait list, I give you guys like a 30% discount. It's like a one-time founder's discount because I'm really, really proud of it. It's been a work in progress for a couple of years. It kind of got sidetracked this year, and I did everything. I was in a place where I knew that would kind of help me actually. So really, really excited to get it out into you guys, like I said. So if you feel like you want to pick it up and implement this stuff, every single daily page has an ability to track every single part of this ritual design. All 4 of the routines, where your clog comes into play, where your actuator comes into play, actually some other routines if you feel that we may go over next week, or excuse me, next month. So I hope this